I can remember Logan when he was young. Goofy scared the shit out of him once.
Oh, really?
Walked up behind him and he saw him. He just booked it. Like it was like, I don't know, Freddy Krueger. It was just Goofy. Hey!
Kara wasn't just afraid of mascots. She was afraid of princesses. And then we did the princess brunch thingy. First one walks out, she goes, like you see her like get anxious and like stressed out for a second. And then the princess comes up, she talks to her for a second. Kara barely says 2 words. And it's okay, let's take a picture. We take a picture. And then she walks away. Kara's like,
she starts crying.
She starts crying the moment the princess walked away, but she held it together all the way through that picture. But the moment that princess was gone, she was like, oh my God.
Chloe, when she was much younger, she was fine. The older she got, the less like, no, I don't want to go over there. I don't want to do that. But when she was young, she was all about it because she loved Brave. She met Brave, and that was a big deal for her because she loved that movie. The movie's on loop in her room.
Oh, really?
She just wanted Brave. And now she doesn't even fucking remember the movie. There you go.
No way.
That's the kid brain for you. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like all the Brave, like toys and arrows and dresses and
oh my God.
And like you don't even
glad
fucking
you did
wig.
that.
All that
glad
money.
We spent all that
yeah,
money.
Exactly. I tell my kids this every day as they wake up. You know how much money I fucking spent on giving you fun that you don't fucking remember? So that's why you're not going to college.
In a world of bad movies, 2 follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening, but are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for bald guys and bad movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies, episode 68. I am Troy. Here with my buddy,
Mike Stella.
Mike
Stella the fella with the dry lips. Don't ask me how I know that. You don't want to know.
One time I was working. I was working background.
I was like to say that back alley. Okay.
Yeah, right. I was working background on NCIS LA. I think that's the one with LL Cool J, right?
I don't know. Him and Rick Schroeder, right? Aren't they in the same one?
No, it was him and the guy who played Robin in the Schumacher Batman.
Oh, Chris
O'Donnell. I think that's what it was. And like some homeless dude like came up and was like, I don't know if he asked for his autograph or something, but we were like in the middle of like getting ready to do a take. And he's like, nah, man, I can't do it. He's like, I'm in the middle of something. And he's like, well, fuck you then, man. Fucking stop licking your lips so much. You look like a fucking or some shit like that. It was like, I was just like cracking my ass up.
What did LL do? Because he don't take kindly to...
No, he just kind of looked at him all weird like, okay, dude, whatever. And then went on with his work. You know what I mean?
What are we reviewing tonight, Mike?
Tonight, we are reviewing the Blumhouse picture, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. A security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Them. In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. It's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Five Nights at Freddy's is a 2023 American supernatural horror film based on the video game franchise of the same name, created by Scott Cawthon, directed by Emma Tammy, who co-wrote the screenplay with Cawthon, and Seth Cutback, from a story by Cawthon, Chris Lee, and Tyler McIntyre. The film stars Josh Hutcherson as a troubled security guard who accepts a nighttime job at an abandoned family entertainment center, where he discovers its 4 animatronic mascots come alive and are prone to murder, and hijinks ensue. Elizabeth Lally, Piper Rubio, Mary Stuart Masterson is in this, and Matthew Lillard appear in supporting roles. I haven't seen her in a hot minute, dude. She used to be
I haven't.
Like cute and everything back in the day, but she's a really good actress.
Fried Green Tomatoes, Benny and June, Bad Girls.
So weird to see her older. Like I can see the younger her. I don't think she's had work done. She
looks good.
I mean, yeah, she looks natural.
She looks like a good natural, woman who, I think she looks great, to tell you the truth.
So Mike, what do you think of Five Nights at Freddy's?
Well, I will say, I don't know if I just had really low expectations, but I liked it way more than I expected to. Mm-hmm. Like, I expected to think it was just utter dog shit, and I found myself kind of enjoying it. Maybe it was also because I saw it in the theater with a bunch of super fans who were actually not being that annoying, but they were just laughing at everything. And they loved the little cameos of like the YouTubers. Like Noah would like lean over to me and like tell me certain things that were happening in the movie. You know what I mean? And I had heard so much information about the game and the lore of the Five Nights at the FNAF. That's what they call it, FNAF, about the FNAF universe. And it was pretty cool to see it come alive on screen. I thought the animatronics looked fucking awesome. I thought they looked great. They did a really good job of recreating what was in the game, and they looked creepy at times. Like, I liked how they could very quickly go from fun and happy to creepy, like out of the flip of a dime. You know what I mean? At the flip of a switch, they could go from creepy, from happy fun guys to like creepy staring at you trying to find you. I thought that was really cool. It's hard for me to say whether I think it's a recommend. If you have a kid who's into FNAF, I 100% recommend.
I was gonna ask, and we'll hear from Noah a little later in this review, folks. So stay tuned for that. What did Noah think overall? He would recommend.
Loved it. He said it's his favorite movie he's seen this year.
Nice.
Maybe ever.
Wow.
I think it probably has less to do with like the quality of the movie. So many video game movies are utter dog shit. I will say this is better than most video game movies. Like, I would say, I don't know, I enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't know if I can say it's like a 100% recommend, because...
Is Noah a fan of the game? Does he play the games, or...
He's played the first game, tried to a couple times, but he can never really get into it because the game is like, it's weird, right? It's like a resource management game where you're just sitting in a room the whole time and you have to like manage your electricity levels to keep them from being able to get to the security room.
Yeah, and the scares are mostly jump scares, right? Like,
yeah.
Even laymen, I think, have heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it's kind of bled over. So it's kind of like Fortnite.
Yeah.
It got so big that even fucking parents know. They may not have played it, but they know what it is. So
yeah. I mean, kids who've never played the games are into FNAF just because of the lore and the ideas behind it. And there's a lot of things that just lore within there that people think are cool. Kids think are cool. And I thought they did a great job bringing it to life.
I tell you. Someone should open a fucking pizza parlor, Five Nights at Freddy's, like a legitimate place you can eat, but with those characters would be fucking dope, dude.
That would be pretty awesome. But you know what they need to do is they need to do a FNAF maze at one of these horror, like at Universal.
Yeah.
Like it'd be prime for that.
Well, it's a gargantuan hit. So
it's definitely going to be there next year.
I mean, you know what the budget is? Do you know?
8 million, 10 million,
20 million, okay. And it's grossed 132.7 million so far.
And it is being cross-released in theaters and on Peacock, so people don't even have to go to the theater to see it.
It's the highest grossing film that's been simul-released that way. So it's already broken a record there. Yeah. From what I read, yeah.
Dude, I'm happy I saw it in the theater. Like, it was an experience to see it in the theater. And then when the movie ends and the song comes on, dude, Noah got up and just cheered. Just clapped and cheered. He was so excited when that song came on at the end because, and I know the song, and literally I was like, oh yeah, because I've heard it a million times and I knew he was going to dig it.
Yeah, it was the biggest ever for a film simultaneously streaming release. Second highest opening for a video game film behind Super Mario Brothers.
Holy fuck.
That grossed $146 million on the opening weekend.
Holy fuck.
So this is gargantuan, dude. Like Blumhouse, they scored a massive win. So
yeah, they did.
This makes me happy. Like
it does.
I like. Look, I don't know anything about I know enough.
Sure, you know enough.
Yeah,
right.
what you said is what I know. Right.
Right.
This movie wasn't made for me.
Right.
It wasn't made. It was made for fans, and apparently the fans are eating it up, and that makes me happy. I like when people, like you said, the animatronics it's Jim Henson.
Yeah.
They made the animatronics, and
they fucking killed it.
Yeah, the characters look great. Josh Hutcherson does a really good job.
Really good job.
That said, I'm reviewing it as a film, right?
Right.
And I'm not coming at it from a fan. I'm not coming at it from pre-built love. So
sure.
As a film, it's a confusing mess, in my opinion.
I could see that.
Like you, I recommend if you have a little one, right? And I also recommend if you play the game and you just want to see the characters brought to life. I'm not saying it's going to be scary, and that's one of the biggest issues I had with the film, and I'll get into it. But sometimes beloved characters you just want to see come to life, and that's enough.
And brought to life in a way that really does those characters justice. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they really did the characters justice and made them it. And that's the whole thing. I could totally see it being a completely confusing mess. You don't know how many times I've been driving Noah to school and he is just nonstop. Like, I think there's been times where he has sat there and explained to me the entire timeline of Five Nights at Freddy's from beginning to end. And then when he brings it up the next time and he's like, remember I told you that? I'm like, I don't remember that part. He's like, Dad, how do you not remember that? I told you that. I'm like, dude, you told me 2 hours worth of FNAF trivia. How am I supposed to remember every little thing? He'd get mad at me.
The lore, Chloe does the same. She did the same. This weekend, we had a pizza party. I got some
nice
Pizza Hut in honor of Freddy's, and we watched it at home on Peacock. And, our usual stopping the movie, talking about this. But she was breaking down the lore, and the lore just sounds like a confusing creepypasta. Look, I'm not going to judge anyone's, a lot of people love this, whatever. I'm going to take my highfalutin, they should do this with the story. I'm just going to look at the movie. The movie itself made some really strange choices, and I don't know why they did.
Okay.
So
let's get into it.
I'll get into it.
So what's you're a not recommend? Or you're a recommend for people with kids
Caveats.
who want to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is completely. Although there is one moment of gore that's actually surprising.
The bite. I was like, whoa! Yeah. I remember Noah's face was like. Urgh.
Someone gets. Spoiler alert! Someone gets bitten in half.
Yeah,
and that's probably the only bloodiest.
But you only see it, but you see it in shadow. So you see the shadow of it happening. You don't actually.
Oh, you see the torso drop, dude.
No, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was
fucking positive. The torso falls.
Well, no, I know you see the torso fall, but I didn't think you were looking at the actual torso.
No, it was the actual torso.
Then it was in silhouette. Okay, it was definitely in silhouette, a very, very dark silhouette to where
not really.
It was pretty.
Will you cover your
dark.
eyes, Mike? Were you afraid in Five Nights at Freddy's?
No, man, I saw it twice. I remember it not being. It was a very quick. It's in one scene, and then it cuts to it. The bite happens, and it changes. But I do remember it being pretty damn dark, and there not being much color detail in that on the torso
they
itself.
They didn't
because
spend
the
a lot of time
background is
on
super
it.
bright.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, funny you should mention that. Background super bright. This film, the way it was lit, is baffling to me because gunshots. Did you hear that?
I did not.
Okay. Well, if my brains fly out, it's because I just got shot with a straight bullet.
Well, I have your address, so I'll call 911 right away.
Welcome to the hood, everyone. Yeah, it was everything was brightly lit, brighter than it should have been. Like this film should have used shadow and dark. It should have been dark and light because, and I tell you why. The characters in the bright light, the warm light, they don't look menacing, really, right? And I get it. Like one's a big giant fucking chicken and the other is a bear, right? There's a time for them to be brightly lit and, you know, inviting. And then there's a time to use shadow and darkness and those red eyes to really up the tension and suspense. The game does this. This is what's baffling to me. The game uses, because there's jump scares and the characters only kind of pop up, you only get glimpses of them here and there, right? And again, I haven't played any of the games, so yeah, maybe in later games you see them like full on for long periods. But like there were times like there was a scene where a ghost kid, runs around a corner down a hallway. And the girl was like kind of looking, and the hallway's like brightly lit. Like there's no attempt to use shadow and dark to evoke suspense and creepiness and dread. So I don't know if you noticed that, but it was very strange to me, the lack of using a core technique of suspense horror films. It's darkness. It wasn't dark. Everything had a nice, warm light and glow to it. So that was my first thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. I personally think they could have used it more because I think they were trying to show that, you know, the Fazbear's characters are not actually evil in themselves. You know what I mean? Like and that's the idea from later on in the stuff is that they are these children ghosts who are trapped inside these animatronics. And
I get that, and I think that's another critique I have though, because right in the middle of this film, I was into it until this moment happened.
Which moment?
The fucking sleepover, the pajama party with the characters, where they're gonna make
really?
They're gonna make a fort and a tent. It's like, hey, Jason, come on over here, pal. Let's have a pizza party. Why don't you? Like, they're supposed to be the threatening, menacing things, and yes, later we'll find out that they're actually sweet. It's not really their fault, but to do that in the middle. It ripped me completely out of. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie doing, dude?
My thing is, I guess it's hard for me to detach myself from like the information I already have,
right?
Where I know that they're not actually the bad guys and that the bad guy is William Afton.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it didn't bother me so much. I actually really liked that part, and it probably has to do with the fact that I knew so much about the story going into it.
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of hoping that they weren't going to end up actually being evil at all. And they were just going to be, you know,
right.
I don't know, that they're only evil when they're controlled by William Afton.
I think there's a way to do that. But for me personally, they just took it way too far. Where it became like a goofy.
I could see that.
It became Goosebumps. You know what I mean? Like the whole film had a kind of a goosebump, and that's not a bad thing. Like I hear the new Goosebumps series is actually, I think you told me, was actually
I'm enjoying
really
it.
Good.
I mean, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, and here's another, since we're talking about that one part. So there's a police woman who, spoiler alert, we later find out is the daughter of the killer.
Yes.
The guy who basically killed these kids and put their bodies in the mascots.
Yep.
So that's what we're talking about. And she kind of shows up, and you know something shady with her.
Right.
And she's the one that's like, no, let's party down with these people. Let's have a sleepover. Let's build forts. And it's like a little montage. And the mascots even giving the thumbs up. And then the little girl, I think she touches the guitar and gets like electrocuted.
Yeah,
then suddenly she's like, "Don't ever bring her back here again."
I will agree with that.
Didn't you just fucking like?
And she's like, "If you bring her back here, I will shoot you." I was like, "What?
What?" And Josh Hutcherson character, Mike, right? He plays Mike.
His name's Mike.
He didn't even want to do it. Like
I know,
he was like against the fort party or whatever you want to call it.
I felt he was a like really well fleshed out like character in my opinion. I thought he was actually pretty damn good.
Well, I have some gripes about that. Performance wise, he was amazing. Like, I believed him. He took the role seriously. There's nothing wrong with his performance. But this backstory with his brother being kidnapped, you have the protagonist for the first 3 nights is just taking a nap.
Yeah.
He's just going to sleep. There's one, I don't know if it's even in the middle. There's one part where the characters kill these people that are going to break in. And by the way, break in and frame the night guard for not doing his job
during the day.
But you're breaking in during the fucking day when he's not on duty.
Yeah, I thought that was fucking stupid, too.
What? But yeah, and so that's where you get most of the kills, and then at the very end, after the characters have had the slumber party, they turn evil again because they want his sister to join them. And I was like, there's so many ways you could have played this. Like, instead of having them be all like friendly to Mike, like to her they look friendly. Maybe to her, and it kind of did it later, like she saw the kid version of them. But to us, they look menacing. And as the film goes on, because I know it's because Chloe, later on in the game, like the characters get more decimated and, creepy looking, and through like there's a fire or whatever. And maybe they're saving that for sequels. But there's ways you could do it where those animatronics get even more like fucking, disturbing, right? And that's not about blood and gore. That's just shadow ramping up the tension.
Yeah.
But they just made really weird fucking choices. So his story, I gotta say, bored me. It struck me as soon as this film was over, what this film, at least the direction they were going. If they're gonna go this direction, kind of campy, the tone they should have hit was fucking killer clowns from outer space. And I'll tell you how.
Sure. Well, it's hard for me to, because like I've said, it's been so long since I've seen that. It's hard for me to really kind of gauge that type of campiness.
Killer clowns, they use the clown shtick to take care of their victims, right?
Okay.
So we're dealing with Five Nights at Freddy's. Maybe they're using the arcade, like maybe it's ghost powers, and then someone gets sucked into the arcade game. They're playing Pac-Man and it eats them. Or not to get all graphic, but there's a way you do it. Like they put someone in a pizza oven, right? Like
sure.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, because they had a moment where like the little cupcake creature is like kind of flying around and chomping on people. Again, brightly lit, not really shot to be menacing. So when you see a child-sized cupcake start chewing on the dude's leg and it looks like a friendly cupcake, I'm not scared. I'm not like, I'm kind of laughing. So if you're gonna do that, then do it the Killer Clowns way, where you just like, you know what? We're just gonna have fun. We're gonna have crazy, weird kills. These eccentric characters are going to take people out in ways you've never seen before, like killer clowns. Like they made one like guy, like a hand puppet, right? He stuck his hand up his back. It was using him as a ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
So
totally.
How about, one kill could have been someone, they're forced on stage and they look animatronic, but they've stuck like plastic eyeballs in them. And, they're performing the song along. There's so many things you could do. And yes, you can keep it PG-13. There's a way to do it so that's not completely graphic. Killer Clowns was PG-13.
Yeah, but it was an 80s PG-13.
It was 80s, but if you're not going to have, and that's the other mystifying thing, there was like, I counted 2 jump scares, and usually I don't like jump scares in a horror movie.
I actually was expecting, well, I think there was 3, right?
Was it 3?
No, there was 4. There was 4, because there was Balloon Boy, which happened 3 times. One was kind of like a fake
3?
one at the end.
Okay.
And then there was the Foxy one where the guy at the beginning when the guy's trying to get out. I think it's at the beginning when the guy's trying to get out the door.
The opening
Foxy,
with the guard.
Yeah, Foxy's like all the way at the back of the hall. He turns around to the door one time, turns around real quick, and he's like right there jumping on him. Right. I think those are really the only jump scares that I remember. And I felt the same way, dude. I was surprised we didn't have more jump scares. I wanted jump scares because that's what this game is all about.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Dude. That's what you paid a ticket for that.
Yeah. I have to agree with that. But at the same time, like I enjoyed seeing these characters who, while, I never played the game and I have no interest in the lore directly, like, I know so much about them from Noah. It was just nice seeing them on screen.
Yeah.
And he loved it. A lot of the stuff that they did fit directly in with the lore from the actual game. So
right.
I thought that was kind of cool.
So, yeah, like I said from the beginning, I'm coming at it from just as neutral as you can be. I have no dog in this hunt. As a movie.
Totally. No, I get that.
As a scary game. I've heard so much about how scary this game is. And if I was just going by this movie, I'm like, really? Is this the fucking...
Right, totally.
Where is the scares? And that would have been the fun part. How do you scare me with these animatronics? Like, and how do you keep it fresh?
Totally.
Right? Because I
can see that.
In the game, it's easy. It's so easy to get a jump scare. That's why in film, it's such a cheap way of doing it.
Right.
But as you said, this is
where you want it.
This is like your whole pass for jump scares.
Exactly.
Like, do it. Like, I want as many jump scares as possible. And the audience would have eaten it up, man. Right?
Yeah.
Now, the audience you saw it with, were they like scared?
No, I don't think anyone was scared. In fact, the biggest reactions in the entire movie were when did Chloe also tell you about the two YouTubers who were in it?
Yeah, well, Corey X Kenshin already knew.
Where to, little lady? What the? Oh my goodness! Not cool. Why do I always get the weirdos?
Like, that's my man. So, and then the other one.
Which one was that?
That's the black dude. He was in the cabbie.
So the other guy, he does something called game theory.
You do realize that lunch is the most important meal of the day.
Thought it was breakfast.
Some people say that, but it's just a theory.
And Noah was like, see, that's funny because that's what he says all the time in his show. Like, he's always, it's just a theory, but, and then he goes into some long story about
Have you never seen his videos, that guy?
No, man, I don't really watch YouTube videos much at all.
I watched a bunch of those with the kids, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's one of the good ones. Like, he has legit, there's some people they watch, I'm like, why the fuck? This guy is like literally in his closet. He's talking monotone, but he's got 7 million views. I don't get it. Whatever. It's over my head. Now, do you understand the lore of the killer? 'Cause I'm trying to remember if the movie fully... Oh, and his daughter, she was just there purely for exposition.
Absolutely.
Just
absolutely.
Exposition girl. She should have had a fucking Kate with an E on it. Why again? Was she knew her dad was a murdering psycho, but she was going along with it?
I don't actually know. I kind of feel like by that point the movie's so close to being over and like shit's kind of ramping up a little bit. I just kind of like, I thought they did such a good job with Springtrap at the end, like making him like the way they brought him into the movie. Like, I really enjoyed the way he showed up and like all of a sudden like now
that's the bunny suit. That's him in the bunny suit. Okay,
the blue bunny who you see throughout the whole movie, the actual animatronic, that's Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's Spring Bonnie, who is like the original Bonnie before they had the fully animatronic suit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, exactly, right. And so I
wait.
Thank Noah because
maybe I'm trying to untangle this. Chloe was telling me, was it William Atherton? Is that his name?
William Afton.
William Atherton. I think that's the actor. He was the owner of Five Nights at Freddy's, the pizzeria, right? Whatever.
Right.
He created animatronics. His older son, was a bully to his younger son and stuck his younger son in Freddy's mouth, and it malfunctioned and bit his head and basically wound up killing him. So his response to that was to start killing kids. It drove him crazy? Is that what happened? Drove him nuts?
From what I understand, he was already kind of crazy.
So was he already killing kids and then this thing happened?
I don't know if he was already killing kids per se, but I think there was, to tell you the truth, I don't really know. Like,
well, how about this? In the context of the movie that should work on its own, he's just a lunatic who likes killing kids.
I
just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
No. He's just a child killer. He kidnapped Mike's little brother when he was a kid and killed him.
So his daughter, the cop, is in on it because he's luring guards to kill them because that's the pizzeria, whatever it's fucking called. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Or no, it's not. It is. It's
What, the pizzeria?
Yeah, the actual name.
No, it's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Palace or something like that.
Okay. So the chain has closed.
Right.
It's no longer open. So how he gets his kills is by luring guards there to kill them, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Look,
Should I not
like,
see?
I'm not
right,
trying.
I'm not trying to play
I'm not
coy
trying,
or anything.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to defend this movie as a movie that stands up on its own.
Did I miss anything in the movie that I should have understood? The movie
I don't
didn't.
think so.
He's nuts. He has a daughter. The daughter knows he's nuts, but whatever. Is her intention to let Mike die? Like, because she doesn't tell him. She protagonist girl dishes out information throughout the film.
Exposition girl.
I'd be a exposition girl. Oh, you know what the funny part is? Chloe and I gotta say, my daughter and I were ripping this film a new asshole throughout. We had fun doing it. It was a pizza party. She blames Mike for not locking up, even though she was there distracting him from locking up, because they broke in, right? I think he did lock up.
Yeah, and I don't even remember him not locking up, to tell you the truth. I thought he did lock up.
So they're sitting by the river or whatever, and she's like, you forgot to lock up. And his reason he gives her for not locking up is his kid brother was kidnapped by some child killer. That's why he didn't lock the fucking door. And then her response to that is to take his sleeping pills and throw it in the fucking river. Bitch, that's my sleeping pills.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Hello, I need those. They're prescribed, okay? What the fuck? It was just a bizarre scene, dude.
I thought that was funny as well. Look, and I'm not like I said, I'm not.
No. I know you're not.
And that's why I said I don't really find it I can't really recommend it. I mean, look, I think it has like a 5.6 on. This is the funny thing. It has a 5.6 on IMDb, right? But it's also the second highest grossing video game movie ever, and the highest grossing streaming and live release ever. So, I mean, they knew their audience.
But that's purely on franchise juice.
Yeah, they knew that. I'm pretty sure knew, like, all we got to do is hit these points. If the rest of it's a little convoluted, the people who are watching this, the people who are actually going to see this movie, they don't need it to make perfect sense.
No. And let me just say this. It can be convoluted.
Right.
But be scary.
Sure, no, I'm with that too.
Jump scares, dude. This game is known. It's like the granddaddy of video jump scares.
And that's what I can't. That's the one thing I can't excuse is the fact that there weren't more jump scares. And you can do jump scares and keep it PG-13. I mean, you don't need blood for jump scares. You know what I mean?
This reminds me of what I said a few episodes ago about modern films trying so hard to give you backstory on a character.
Sure.
And I think they overdid it with Mike. Too much fucking time. By the way, the dream sequence, which, there
were a lot of them.
There were a lot of them, and I figured out right away. I looked at Chloe. Okay, the kids, they're the animatronics, I guess, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, yeah, okay, I can forgive that. Even that, I get the first time it's a nice, friendly woods you would love to have a picnic in. But as the dreams progress, even the woods could have been menacing, but they didn't do it.
Darker and scarier.
And they're coming from nowhere. And it's like big, giant, wide open spaces with a few trees. And I'm looking at them like, who the fuck directed this, dude? Like, who's making these choices? You know who was originally going to direct this was Chris Columbus.
No way.
Yes. He was attached to this. It's been in production hell since 2015.
I'd like to see this as a Sam Raimi film.
Sam Raimi would have killed it, dude. Also, my man James Gunn.
Well, I'll tell you, though, my problem with that is I feel like a lot of these guys might want to change it so much that it's, like, unrecognizable. You know what I mean? I felt like this did a good job of really hitting the points that the fans wanted to see.
But let's unpack that. The story's a mess.
Right.
They added shit that was boring. It was, according to Chloe, non-lore. All this backstory of the brother.
Right.
So that's wasted screen time. If they tweaked the story, pull elements from the lore, but tweaked it, and let a master of horror light this, shoot this, with someone with clever ideas, with clever camera work. Even the camera work was lazy. It was very point and click. And I'm watching it, and it's a shame because the message the studio's getting, and I would get it too. Hey, don't change the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Improve on what? Give them more of this. And unfortunately, and what we'll see with sequels, because there will be sequels, you're not inviting a lot of new people in.
Yeah.
Because it is riding solely on your existing love for these characters. But that gas is only go so far.
Yeah.
Right? All I'm saying is you could have really threaded the needle, invited new people like myself, made it fun. First of all, fun. Oh, Mike's backstory. Is it fun?
No.
No. Like, I mean, that is every scene must have a equal to fun.
Yeah.
Is that a fun kill? Is this a fun moment? Is this going to make the audience like jump in their seats? Like, that's what you need. You know what? The first fucking change I would have made, I wouldn't have let that fucking guy leave. What if this whole movie, he was trapped in there 5 nights?
Oh, right.
Because I know in the game, I think in the game you do technically leave.
Right.
But the game experience, they doesn't show you go home and have cereal with your little sister. It's that increasing pressure of I'm trapped in here. There's so much you could have done with that. You could have added to the lore, or maybe it's already in the lore. Like the pizzeria is just the surface level. There are like levels underneath.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's like going down the rings of pizzeria hell, right? And there's a character on every one of those levels where there's so much fun you could have had.
One thing I did like, though, I loved when the fight was going on at the end and Matthew Lillard is like standing over him and he has the knife and he does the like scream.
I noticed that.
That was
a nice knife. That was a nice
I
knife.
looked over at Andrea. She looked over at me. We smiled. We were like, yes, that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, I know we shouldn't talk about logic. So this guy puts on a suit that's known to fucking snap on you and cut your organs, but he puts it on because it's safe, I guess, until it's not safe.
Look, and look, I can't defend this shit, right?
Yeah.
And I can't defend the logic of it because all these things have to happen in order for the people who love the lore to actually get to see what they're supposed to see. You know what I mean?
This is a minor detail, but major. It bugged me that he didn't wear a security guard uniform.
Oh, really?
Because the opening stinger had a guard with uniform on, right?
Yes, it did.
I feel like that's part of the Freddy security or
Sure.
whatever.
No,
like,
I totally think you should have as well.
I don't know why they just let him wear a hoodie and then eventually put a vest on, but like a visual of that, you're a security guard, so let him dress like a security guard. Like, again, and that's a small thing, but kind of a big thing. Like,
it is.
Why make that choice? Because it's right there. It's an easy, unless there's some lore reason he doesn't dress as security. But they established in the beginning they have a security guard.
But also, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he is a security guard. I don't think you ever see the guy, like actually see him
in the game.
Yeah, it's literally just you, like just like a first person shot of you sitting in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, looking at the cameras. So you don't ever actually see anyone or whether or not they're in what sort of outfit they're in.
It just would have been a nice visual way.
I think it would have been good for the movie
of connecting him to the location.
Yep.
And now he's officially the guard there. I don't know why they didn't do it. The little sister was a fine actress, though.
She was
adorable. She was really good.
I really liked her. I thought she was really good.
And I did like, I don't know the Freddy's character, but was it a fucking wolf? The one that was kind of more torn up than the rest.
Oh, no, it's a Foxy.
That was a nice design.
He was really good, and I actually liked Mr. Cupcake. I thought Mr. Cupcake was kind of funny. Like,
it was. It was funny.
Yeah.
That's what really sparked the Killer Clowns connection.
Yeah.
Like, give me more of that.
I will say I did like at the end, like, There was one moment that I just thought was kind of cool where they're all, I think they're standing around like where William Afton is, and like all the animatronics are like leaning, and they have this like look on their face, and they just looked like creepy that way. I was like, dude, they should have been like standing with that sort of like pose like through more of the movie when they were trying to,
when he was wounded and they were like looming over him. Yeah.
No, I don't even know if they were like leaning over him. It wasn't like a top down shot. It was just when they were doing coverage, like cutting between different directions. But they're like leaning, and they have this like look on their face, like they're kind of angry and with him, and they're like no longer under his control, but they have this like lean, and it just, I don't know why I liked the look of the animatronics when they were in this sort of leaned pose that happened mainly towards the end.
Just to reinforce, in case I didn't make it clear, I think
you probably have.
I think they revealed that they were kids in there. I feel like the way they did it wasn't dramatic or suspenseful. They should have had Mike, the protagonist, find this out while he's trapped in this place and discovering the secrets. Kind of what the player does, right?
Yeah.
And then only at the end do they redeem themselves.
It would have been kind of cool if it had more of like a, I don't know about like a Sixth Sense feel, where basically like he sees these kids running around, right? And he's like trying to help them. And then later on, like there's this like revelation moment where he realizes that these kids that he's been trying to help are just ghosts. And they're actually trapped in all the animatronics.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because connected to my earlier note, the animatronics get more and more fucked up looking as the film goes. When he sees those kids in his dreams, they should have gotten more fucked up looking.
Yeah.
Those kids should have looked like zombie, emaciated. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of cool, creepy, dead, because there's corpses in those fucking mascots, dude.
Yeah.
That's horrific. So as he's getting closer to revelation, if we're going to have these fucking dream sequences, which I hate, if we're going to continue to see them, like, play into the horror.
Yeah.
Once they shift their goal to, like, wanting the little sister, then there's no reason to hide what they really are to him, right? Maybe.
Totally.
I don't know. Like, but it just takes some thought about how to play the horror. That's not a graphic, bloody thing. Like you could keep that PG-13.
Totally.
But make it fucking creepy.
Absolutely.
The fact that there's the corpses of kids in there, stinking ass corpses, I felt kind of robbed. We never saw. They just looked like kids, clothes clean and running around, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'd have to agree with that statement too. I mean, it would have been nice to have a little bit more creepiness in this movie as a whole. However, you are able to accomplish it. But, they're not going to be able to get some badass director on whatever the hell their budget was. You know what I mean?
Well, them days are over.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe the sequels, maybe they'll find ways to improve it. Emma Tammy, who was also, I think she helped write the script too. I'm looking at her reel.
Not
her
much.
Credits is not much at all, man. Like,
yeah.
Fucking get the YouTube kids. Get the kids that just did Talk to Me.
Oh, yeah.
Get them for the sequel. They're up and coming. That maybe they're like, well, fuck you. We're doing our own thing. But, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there could have been better choices. And it starts with the direction. The direction was, I'm sorry, pedestrian. The lighting was wrong for these characters. I'm looking at the poster now.
Yeah.
That's the most creepiest thing. It's not even a fucking movie. Look how they're lit.
I know.
That's what I'm talking about. And I was telling Chloe, like, Shadow, man, those red eyes, you see those red eyes shuffling towards you, maybe backlit, just the silhouette, you'll shit your pants.
Totally.
Potentially, right? If you do it right. They were just too brightly lit, and then in the middle, they diffused any earned tension by having that fucking slumber party, whatever it was called. There's so many things they could have done. Like, they could have played with time. Like, it gets more surreal. Maybe he falls asleep and he wakes up and it's the pizzeria at its heyday.
Right.
Of course it's a dream sequence or whatever. And he sees this guy's kid get killed. Like whatever the motivating driving thing that drove him crazy, he witnesses it, right? Like
totally.
But fans would have gotten a kick out of that because that's like lore.
Hell yeah.
Like to see that actually happen.
Well, I feel like this director, it seems like everything he's done is like, not everything, but a lot of stuff he's done. He's just like the Blumhouse director, like director of photography.
Oh, the DP?
The DP.
Okay.
Like, you know, there's at least 3 out of the 5 things that he's, like, last 5 things that he's worked on are all Blumhouse. So it might just be just a director they have in-house that they just use, you know?
But whatever. Not to beat a dead horse.
You're a bit late for that!
This film's not made for me, and I'm very happy that people enjoy it. I'll take any win for the horror genre. I guess you could consider this horror.
Well, tell you the truth, like, I actually thought it was less horror and more like a psychological thriller kind of thing. Like, it didn't have that many horror elements to it, but I felt like it had more thriller and psychological elements going on within it.
Yeah.
Like a psychological thriller, you know, geared towards kids and early 20-somethings, you know, anything from 10 to 25.
The creator, Scott, went through several versions of this script. And I'm kind of wondering what the earlier versions were.
I'm telling you, I bet you there were scripts that probably worked better, but didn't hit the points within the lore that he felt needed to be hit. Mm-hmm. And they probably lost some good story points in order to make the film that ultimately made a fuck ton of money. You know what I mean?
Hey, what do I know? It made a shitload of money, and he's the creator. And I'm always one to, like, you know what? The creator should know. Get the creator involved.
Sure.
And I'd rather the creator be involved than not be involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, he has his finger on the pulse of what people want, I would think, because he knows the lore better than anyone else.
You know who was going to play the security guard in the beginning? The opening? Markiplier. You know who that is?
No.
He's a gargantuan YouTuber, Markiplier.
Yeah, I would not know him.
If you look him up, he's like super fucking famous. Fans would have went ape shit. According to Chloe, like Five Nights at Freddy really made his career. He wasn't available because he's producing another movie, apparently. And you said the song at the end wasn't it a YouTuber song? Like someone, a fan created it? Or
there are so many Five Nights at Freddy songs with like, there's some that have some dope ass music videos, like full CG music videos. Like, dude, the people who like Five Nights at Freddy's go all out.
So what do you think, Mike? Do you think it was just the right game at the right time and the right point of history? Like, why is it such in the zeitgeist? Why do people like just? It was a budding new genre, maybe. And
what I think it actually is that it's something that feeds into kids who love Chuck E. Cheese, right? And they hear their older siblings talking about this game they're playing, and then they grow up wanting to know about it because it's like, it's like Chuck E. Cheese and like these animatronic guys, like what the hell? But it's creepy, but it's not too creepy. It's not gory. It really was a smart thing to make. Like, I think this idea was very smart because it allowed for a huge demographic to actually be into it. Some of them can actually play the game. Some of them can't because they're too young.
And I think it taps into the fear that most kids have of those fucking things. Anything else you want to say about this?
There's not much else I can say, but right now, Noah is going to take it away, and he's going to tell you everything that he loved about it.
That's right. So disregard all my grumpy Gus bullshit, my
his old ass sensibilities,
my old ass wanting a story, wanting actual suspense and horror in a horror movie, whatever. Noah's going to give you the real deal. All right. So the really important review is coming right up.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
My name is not Oswald. It's Noah. Stella!
How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
So what are we here to talk about?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
How did you like the movie Five Nights at Freddy's?
Best horror movie ever.
Have you seen a lot of horror movies?
Not that many, but out of all the ones I've seen, yeah, it's definitely the best horror movie ever.
So tell us your background with Five Nights at Freddy's. Are you a big fan?
I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I've been into it since I was 6 years old.
6 years old?
And I'm 10 now. So I've been a FNAF fan for 4 years.
Almost half your life.
I know.
Yeah. So, what were some of your favorite parts from the movie?
I thought the balloon boy jump scare was really funny.
That was pretty funny. Were you disappointed that there weren't as many jump scares as one might think from a Five Nights at Freddy movie?
Five Nights at Freddy's is literally all about jump scares. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed they didn't have as many jump scares as I was expecting, but, you know.
But all in all, how did you feel about the movie?
I feel like it's hard to make good movies that are about, like, video games. So I thought this was definitely a success.
Did you know that this is the second highest grossing video game movie next to Super Mario that just came out?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
It is the highest grossing movie ever that was simultaneously released at home on Peacock or anything and put in the theaters. Did you know that?
No. Yeah. I did not know that.
It made a lot of money for a movie that was released both in theaters and at home. So, what were some of your other favorite parts?
Well, I like, because in the game, if you go to the Pirate Cove, which is like where Foxy hides, there's a chance you'll hear him humming like this. Do, 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 do. And in the movie, like, at the very first death scene, where like the rookie security guard is trying to escape and gets like captured by Foxy and the mask kills him, while Foxy is chasing the rookie security guard, he did the same do humming.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That he did in the game, which was a really cool Easter egg, I thought.
What were some of the other Easter eggs that you saw that you thought were pretty cool?
There was a poster that is in the movie that is the same poster that you can find in your office in FNAF 1.
Well, what happens? What's the significance of the poster?
A funny thing is, in the game, if you tap on Freddy's nose, it'll make a like squeaky sound like this. You know,
like a squeak toy.
Yeah, squeak toys.
Well, let me ask you this.
Another thing that I thought was interesting. I know in one of the Foxy jump scares, you hear an which is the same sound you make in any of the games.
Interesting. I got another question for you. Do you remember the part when those jerks are breaking into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Parlor or whatever it's called?
Pizza
Palace. Pizza Palace, right? Freddy bites that girl in half.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you think that is the bite of 87?
Well, in the game, the bite of 87 takes place in FNAF 2, which is a prequel of FNAF 1. And it's not Freddy, it's not Foxy, it's Mangle.
Mangle?
Yeah, Mangle.
Who's Mangle?
In the game, you know the toy animatronics, Toy Freddy, Toy Chica, Toy Bonnie?
Yes.
There's also Toy Foxy.
Oh.
Which was introduced in FNAF 2. But Toy Foxy, you never see Toy Foxy. The only evidence that Toy Foxy exists is at the front poster of the place. But the only animatronic that is the closest to Mangle, to Toy Foxy is Mangle. Mangle is a destroyed version of Toy Foxy. You never see the original version of Toy Foxy.
Got it.
Like in actual gameplay.
Got it.
But there is Funtime Foxy, which looks very similar to Toy Foxy.
I got another question for you. How did you feel about Springtrap?
Well, in the game, he's like screaming at the top of his lungs. But in this, he's just like, ah! When he gets spring locked.
How did you feel about the spring lock scene? Was that pretty brutal?
To be honest, I think they made it just enough brutal for it to still be like not like insanely scary and stuff.
I think
they made it just the right amount of brutal.
I think you're right.
If they made it like intensely brutal, like getting his eyes stabbed or something, I think it would have been too brutal.
I think you're right. After we watched Five Nights at Freddy's, we showed you a movie.
Scream?
We watched Scream. What did you think about seeing William Afton as, what was his name? Stu?
Yeah, Stu, I think.
In Scream.
The second I saw him, I suspected him as Ghostface.
Why?
Because it's William Afton, and also he was acting a little sus.
He was acting a little sus. Did you notice in Scream, every time they kill someone, he like wipes the blood off his blade? Did you notice that? Uh-huh. Did you know that he does that in Five Nights at Freddy's? Uh-huh. And so when I know that me and your mom, when we all saw it together, we saw him do that. We both looked at each other and we're like, "Yep, that's straight out of Scream." I loved how they did that. That was pretty nice little throwback to a good horror film from my childhood.
Yeah, your childhood.
Well, not childhood, not as young as you. I think it came in 99.
Teenager.
Yeah, it was like
teenager.
19 or something.
So,
and what else do you want to talk about this movie?
I actually, all in all, I thought it was a really good horror movie. And it wasn't even a horror movie. It's more of like a thriller. It's PG-13. If your child is a FNAF fan, I'd say. I personally think they could see it at like the age of 8.
8?
I mean,
what do you maybe?
I saw Halloween when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
But my grandpa did work on that.
Yes, he did. So there is an excuse. Don't call CPS on us, all you listeners out there. It's okay.
Yeah, please. Like,
we did it for a reason.
Maybe 9.
Well, let me ask you this. It probably depends on the kid, right? If you think your kid
around my age, but it depends on the kid, you know.
Yeah. How old are you?
10.
You're 10. Okay.
Around my age, 9, 11. I'd definitely say they could watch it at 13. Because it's PG-13.
Absolutely. I think at 13 you can definitely watch this movie. Absolutely.
I really like how they showed Golden Freddy, and I really like the design.
Which one was Golden Freddy?
The messed up, kind of rusty. Freddy.
Oh, the one that shows up in her house.
Yeah, I really like that Freddy because I was one ear and only one eye is glowing blue. Oh yeah, and Matt Pad.
Oh, Matt Pad. Which one was that? Was he the guy in the diner or the taxi driver?
The guy in the diner. There's this YouTuber called Game Theorist. He also has Film Theorist and Food Theorist. Some people call him Matt Pad, Game Theory, a bunch of different names. But and his catchphrase is, "But hey, that's just a theory." And
the guys who break in later are having a meeting at a diner.
Then the waiter comes and he's like, "Hey guys, what would you like to eat?" Then they're like, "We don't want anything." Then he's like, "No food? You know, lunch is the most important meal of the day. You know, that's just a theory."
That is true.
And I thought it was cool how he said his catchphrase. I was like, that voice sounds familiar. The second I saw his face, I was like, oh, that's Matt Pat.
I remember you saying that. That was great.
I love the scene where he's like, why do I always get the weirdos? Like the taxi driver?
Yeah. What was his name?
I don't watch that YouTuber, but Amelia does.
Got
my
it.
friend Amelia. Yeah, because when we saw the movie in the theater, I saw it with my friend Amelia. And I love the last Balloon Boy jump scare where he hears the door open and close, and then he's like, I said read the sign. Then he looks at his Balloon Boy, the Balloon Boy figurine. They just and then he just get jump scared another time.
And that was the last scene in the whole movie, right? That was pretty funny.
But I just thought how it was so funny that it wasn't even a real animatronic. It was just this ugly figurine of a boy holding balloons.
It was pretty funny.
And he get jump scared by him 3 times.
And those were almost the only jump scares, aside from that one Foxy jump scare at the beginning.
There are 3 Foxy jump scares.
Oh, there were? I only remember the one. But I think Foxy and Balloon Boy were the only one who had any kind of jump scares in the whole movie.
Remember when Mike is having the dream? He's chasing the kid who actually is Foxy. Then his hand turns into the hook and cuts him. His eye just turned black and black stuff is coming out. And then Mike wakes up. And then you see Foxy in the background and just disappear. That he actually has a wound from his dream.
Oh, right. So what happens in his dream actually affects him in real life.
But it's because he had the dream where he got wounded. But Foxy was sneaking up on him while he was having the dream.
Oh, that's what you think happened.
Yeah, because it was the kid who became Foxy who gave him the wound in his dream.
Got it.
And you see Foxy in the background when he wakes up. So it only makes sense if Foxy gave him the wound in real life.
You read way deeper into that than I ever thought. That's pretty good. So what else you got for me, buddy?
I have so much information, bigger than like the biggest Harry Potter.
Well,
book.
let's just talk about the movie and not all the background stuff.
Not
Anything
all
else from the movie?
No, not like from the game lore.
Okay.
I'm not saying from the game lore necessarily, just from like the actual movie itself. I really like how the animatronics are like peaceful. They don't want to hurt you, but they're getting controlled by like William Afton. I love the part where Abby like does a drawing of Springtrap killing them all.
Oh, right.
So like the animatronics find out the truth that William Afton killed them and put their bodies and their souls
they get
in
all
the
angry and start attacking William Afton.
It's
pretty good.
And also Mr. Cupcake.
Mr. Cupcake.
With the giant mouth, like, biting off that dude's face.
That was pretty funny, I will say.
And you actually see just, like, the face.
Oh, yeah, later on. Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
It is pretty brutal, not gonna lie. I love how, like, Mr. Cupcake just bites William Afton, like, affects the spring lock.
Oh, yeah, because that's what, like, triggers the spring lock, right?
And then, like, they take him in, like, the back. All of their other victims are. So William Afton basically gets killed by his own minions and dies next to all of his victims.
Pretty brutal. Still think an 8-year-old could see this movie?
9-year-old.
9-year-old. Okay. I want to know, what would you rate the Blumhouse film Five Nights at Freddy's?
How can I rate it? 10 stars at the max?
No, it's 5. It's out of 5.
Okay. 5 nights out of 5 nights.
5 out of 5 nights at Freddy's. That's pretty good, Noah. Okay, buddy. Well, thanks for coming and talking with us today.
No problem. Definitely check out Sonic 2 and then Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Those are the other 2 that I'm in. Also, check out my YouTube channel, @HyperPug. So, yeah, go check it out. It's awesome. See you later, guys. Bye.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
See, and that's why I should never be allowed near any film ever. Because I'll be in the back of the theater like, look at all these motherfuckers crying. Oh, there's another one leaving. Mission accomplished movie. Traumatized.
Already got their fucking money.
Listen, I'm not talking about your kid, but I'm talking about all the other weak kids this generation. I grew up, I saw Friday the 13th when I was fucking 8 years old. And I goddamn liked it. Okay? I saw tits. I saw people being murdered. I saw chainsaws cutting people in half. And I grew up just fine, didn't I, Mike? Sure, I'm desensitized and I can't feel or you can't scare me and,
I like how you asked me a question, but then didn't wait for me to answer.
Don't need the answer. I got the answer.
It was rhetorical, damn it. I'm telling you I grew up fine.
Wait, what was the question? I don't even remember.
The question is, I saw this and I grew up fine, didn't I, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
And then
well, we know what your answer is going to be. Well, I say the obvious. All right, you want to rate this puppy?
Sure, we can rate it. Oof, such a hard thing for me to rate. Why don't you go first?
So I'll give it 2.5. 2.5 sleeping security guards out of 5.
Nice. I'm going to give it 3 poorly developed daughter of a killer out of 5. That's what I'm going to do. I'm like 3 out of 5. Why the hell doesn't this police officer daughter turn her psycho killing father in out of 5? That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, she is a mystifying character.
Totally.
Like, at no point does she make sense in the movie. And
0.
Especially at the end. It undoes any kind of sense she could have made. And then he just fucking kills her.
Yeah.
He's kept his daughter alive all these years, and then he just goes full psychoing and stabs her. Breaks your brain if you think too much about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
So if you would like to support this show, keep us going, keep us rolling along, uploading content, you can support us by going to patreon.com/baldguysbadmovies and donate to the show. We're going to use those funds to make sure we can see any movies that you guys want to see and getting our studio set up so we can start recording video and doing these not just audio but also video on YouTube. And once a month, we will pick a patron to choose a movie for us to review. And we'll review it. We'll dedicate it to you. But either way, we just hope you enjoy the show and keep on coming back.
Next week, Mike, we are
icing our nipples up, baby.
For episode 69.
Getting our nipples nice and hard using some beautiful melty ice cubes.
We are reviewing a cinematic milestone, I'd say.
A masterpiece of...
an erect pillar in the annals of film history.
Oh, man.